Hello and welcome back to MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things magic. In our video today, we are going to update and upgrade our Kathril Aspect Warper EDH deck, one of the current commander decks residing in the Burgeoning Commander catalog. Greetings and salutations to the MTGBC. You are the MTG Burgeoning community. Welcome to another installment of the Up and Up series, and today it's Kathril Aspect Warper in the BCC's only Abzan build. And of course, the BCC is the Burgeoning Commander catalog, a playlist of commander decks that you could see on our page. And in addition to that, you can look in the description below and click the link to tappedout.net where you can see the deck list as it stands right now. So this is going to be a relatively shorter up and up video because we only have a few changes that we're going to make to the 99 of this deck. We are going to go all in on the Voltron-esque theme of this Kathril build, and in so doing, we're going to add some more pieces to make Kathril stronger, while also taking out some cards from the 99 in order to do so. So, the first card going in is Strength Testing Hammer. Here we have an uncard that actually is Commander Legal. It is an equipment for 1 generic mana and an equip cost of 3. And whenever an equipped creature attacks, so for the purposes of this video, whenever Kathril attacks and this equipment is attached to him, we will roll a 6-sided die. Kathril will get +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the result. Then, if it has the greatest power or is tied for greatest power among creatures on the battlefield, we will draw a card. So, for the purposes of this Voltron build, remember, if we are doing a Voltron build, more than likely at all times, our commander is going to have the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield. So Strength Testing Hammer is really just going to draw us a card whenever it attacks, and with the potential power boost between +1 and +6, all for an equip cost of 3 after the initial investment of 1 into the CMC of this card. So Kathril will put cards into our hand, get bigger, which will deliver more lethal commander damage more quickly. Strength Testing Hammer is one of those cards from Unfinity that is going to see much more play once the community begins to understand its power, or after the community starts to become a little more accepting of the Unfinity set. Strength Testing Hammer is going to take the place of Nethroi, Apex of Death. Now, Nethroi was initially included in this build as a way in which to kind of pack in a side potential alternate win condition by having this mutate onto another creature, and in so doing, we get to return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from our graveyards to the battlefield. Now that we're taking a step forward in the idea of creating a more powerful Voltron strategy with Kathril, Nethroi is just clunky, particularly with its mutate cost of being 7. That's our second time casting Kathril. That's, 5 and then an initial commander tax after it ends up getting killed. So Nethroi is going to come out, which is going to allow Strength Testing Hammer to go in as a way in which to do what we want to do more quickly, efficiently, and effectively. Speaking of keeping Kathril on the battlefield, Resurrection Orb is going to help us do that. It's another equipment for 2. This one has an equip cost of 4, so it's a little pricier than Strength Testing Hammer. What it does, however, is going to go a long way to keeping the commander tax down when it comes to casting Kathril from the command zone. The Resurrection Orb is going to give equipped creature lifelink, and whenever it dies, we can return that card to the battlefield under our control at the beginning of the next end step. So Kathril is going to be a target. We have many, many ways of giving him protection with hexproof, with specific protection with colors, and with indestructibility. However, there's still going to be times where one of those protection pieces is going to falter. With Resurrection Orbs strapped onto them, we can make sure that if somebody does find a way to spot remove or cast a mass removal spell, instead of Kathril dying and then going back to the command zone with another command tax of 2, we can just return it to play on our side of the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. And the lifelink is not going to be a bad feature either, particularly because we're going to be attacking with Kathril as much as possible. And even if our opponents are going to chump block them or try to with the many ways in which we can give our commander evasion, that swing in life totals is going to be ridiculous, particularly if he's suited up with all of those different keywords and +1/+1 counters. Can you imagine if we've got double strike on there too? Oh, baby. Resurrection Orb is going to do a lot of heavy lifting in this Kathril build. With Resurrection Orb going in, we have to find something to come out, and what's beginning to happen secondary to this Kathril build, as more and more creatures with massive amounts of keyword abilities are printed on them, we have to start identifying creatures that may not be the greatest fit because perhaps they don't have as many keyword abilities printed on them as other creatures that are going to find their way into this build. And for Kathril wants as many different keywords on those creatures in the graveyard as possible. So with that thought process in mind, Resurrection Orb is going to go into the 99, and it's going to replace a creature with a CMC of 4 that only has one keyword ability, and that's Slippery Bogbonder. Now, don't get me wrong, Hexproof is a very, very good keyword ability, and I'm hoping that we're not going to feel a void by losing this card. We have many other ways in which to imbue Hexproof to Kathril, and we have lots of ways to give it indestructibility as well. So it's my hope that replacing Slippery Bogbonder will allow us to have a higher concentration of multiple keyword creatures in the 99, in our hand, and in the graveyard. Slippery Bogbonder is out. Resurrection Orb is in. All right, and our last change for today. Remember when I just said a moment ago about creatures with so many keyword abilities that are being printed all the time? Well, here's an example of one of those, and it's a creature that most likely should be one of the first 5 creatures included into new Kathril builds moving forward. That is Scavenged Brawler. Here we have a 4/4 artifact construct for 6 generic mana. It has flying, vigilance, trample, and lifelink. A 4/4 with 4 relevant keywords for Kathril for a total of 6 mana. Even if that were all, this would still be included in the 99. But it gets so much better from that. If needed, we can pay 5 generic mana. We can exile this creature from our graveyard and choose target creature. It says target creature, but let's face it, it's most likely always going to be one of our own, probably Kathril, or probably some other creature. Through politicking at the table, it could be an opponent's creature if we need to gang up and get somebody off of the game. But more often than not, we're going to choose one of our own creatures. And when we do so, we put 4 +1/+1 counters, a flying counter, a vigilance counter, a trample counter, and a lifelink counter on that creature. And we can activate this only as a sorcery. So if our graveyard is not really overflowing with corpses of our creatures, Scavenged Brawler could make one of our creatures very Kathril-esque just by paying 5 and exiling it from our graveyard. Man, Scavenged Brawler is an absolute beast at what it's going to do in this deck. So with that going in, we have to identify a creature to come out, and that's going to be Sky Hunter Skirmisher. We've got 1 and double white for a 1/1 Cat Knight with flying and double strike. So the flying is going to be replaced with Scavenged Brawler. The double strike is a loss here because we have Vigilance, Trample, and Lifelink going in its place. And plus it's a creature with a CMC of 3 for 2 abilities, where of course Scavenged Brawler is a CMC of 6 for 4. So the numbers are still there, but the additional ability of what Scavenged Brawler gives us makes it a little easier to kind of remove a lower costed creature to make way for a big baddie that should end up not only making Kathril stronger, but potentially providing an alternate win condition to one of our other creatures if for some reason Kathril is otherwise indisposed. And there you have it for today, fans of Kathril Aspect Warper, making some updates and upgrades to the 99 of this build. Let me know your thoughts about these changes in the comment section below. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things magic.